All right, how's it going, my Canuck people? Um, I want to speak about something which has come up in the news, and that is that the Governor General of Canada, Julie Payette, has resigned. Now, for those of you who don't know, and I don't blame you for not knowing, I don't think anybody should really care about this, apart from the fact that we've got these unelected, pompous individuals who can decide whether or not a government is dissolved or not, prorogued or not, bills signed, and all kind of stuff like that. The Governor General is the Queen's representative. The Queen of the United Kingdom is still the Queen of Canada. And because the Queen doesn't live in Canada, the Prime Minister appoints a Governor General to do the work of the Queen. And all these every country where the Queen is Queen, Australia, Canada, Jamaica, Obama's got rid of her, good. New Zealand, Belize, all those countries have Governor Generals. And all the provinces have their own governor generals called lieutenant governors. Now, this this woman is a trip. Julie Payette, man, this woman, someone ought to bitch slap her. She resigned because there was an investigation done due to workplace harassment. Now, it's alleged, which has now come to light after the investigation, that the investigation concluded that it was true. This woman would berate, humiliate, scream at her employees. She would throw their work in their face. She would throw their work. This is supposed to be the Queen's representative, and she's throwing work in people's faces, calling it shit, and just being such a nasty little tripe. My God, man, from Zion. I don't know how some of these, and get this is not the only thing that she's done. Apparently she's very spoiled too. She doesn't want to live in Sussex and Rideau Hall, because Rideau Hall is like the Buckingham Palace of Canada. That's where the Governor General officially lives. She doesn't want to live there because she likes her privacy. So she's living in a house which is on the grounds of Rideau Hall, but it's like right at the front gate. I've seen that house. It's where people from all over the world, when they visit Canada, like dignitaries, that's where they would go and stay. And she's staying there. And this woman takes millions of dollars of our tax money to build this fence so that she doesn't have to see construction workers who are busy trying to make Rideau Hall more secure. And I'm thinking to myself, this woman has some nerve. Of all the people that she has irritated, annoyed, humiliated, just crossed on the wrong path, you would think that she'd be on her knees to those construction workers, thanking them to make her residence more secure so that some of these guys who she's irritated don't come back and jack her up. But anyway, she spends our tax dollars, wastes them. When the RCMP book a hotel for her when she travels abroad, she decides she doesn't want to stay at the hotel and she goes to somewhere else, and then the money's wasted. She's bad to her employees. She should have never even been appointed. Before she was Governor General, this woman, she's a drunk, okay? She was caught up in some drunk driving accident in Maryland. I think she even killed somebody too. I don't know if she was exonerated or that was thrown out, but she's a drunk. And on top of that, she's an abuser too. She abuses her husband, apparently. So this woman, Lord have mercy, man. This woman is something else. And Justin, the tackhead and Mac Daddy Trudeau, thinks that she is right to be the Queen's representative. Can you imagine if the Queen of England was a drunk driving, killed people, beat her husband, doesn't like construction workers, doesn't want to see them near her residence, spends she already does that, wastes taxpayer dollars just by existing. But anyway, we won't get into that. But, this workplace harassment thing has just the investigation said she is out of control. She's a menace. And she was faced with a decision. Either she resigns as being Governor General, the Queen's representative of Canada, or Justin Tacky MacDaddy Trudeau has to get on the phone with the Queen of England, who is also the Queen of Canada, and ask the Queen to fire her, because the Queen can fire her. Justin Tacky MacDaddy Trudeau can't really fire her, even though I've always said that these prime ministers, they have more power than they know. I mean, if it was me who was prime minister, I would have fired her. I wouldn't go on the phone with any queen. First of all, I don't think that the Queen should be Queen of Canada anymore, but we won't get into that. I would say, you're out of here, and if you don't leave, I will put it to a vote in Parliament, and if the courts say that that's unconstitutional, then I'll just whip the notwithstanding clause in their face, and they'll force you out. But anyway, she's out nonetheless. And I'm watching CBC and all these people. Man, I love my Canadian brothers and sisters, man, but they're talking about who should replace Julie Payette. And one guy said we should replace her with a native woman or a native. One person said replace her with a transgender. One person and I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, you all are missing the point. I don't think we should have a Governor General. I think that office should be abolished. Now, hear me out on this, because I know there's some of y'all old fossils out there. You all love the Queen and whoop-de-whoop-whoop. Oh, the Queen is our history. It's not my history, and I'm very Canadian. More Canadian than all of you. My ancestors have been on this continent since the 1400s. And regardless, the natives were here first, and the first white people weren't English. They were French, or not even French, Vikings. And then the French, and then the English. So you talking about history, more than half of this country's history does not include the Queen. And regardless, even the English Canadians, especially the younger ones, and even the middle-aged ones don't care about the Queen. But I'm not saying get rid of the Queen. I'm saying get rid of the office of Governor General. Okay? I think that the office of Governor General and the office of the Prime Minister need to be one. And we elect not only a head of government, but we elect the Queen's representative. So we change the name of the Prime Minister to the Viceroy or Governor or whatever. But abolish the office of Governor General. And I'll tell you this. I know Canadians aren't good at making decisions. I mean, you all elected Justin Tacky MacDaddy Trudeau twice. So y'all aren't good at making good decisions. But I guarantee you that if I were to put that up to a plebiscite or referendum, say, should we get rid of the office of Governor General and make the Prime Minister's role and the Governor General's role one, I would say probably 90% of Canadians would agree with that. And the other 10% are just pompous asses who, whatever. And many people will say, oh, well, it's nice to have somebody who's outside of politics who has a neutral view of things. But here's the thing. First of all, most Canadians do not know who the Governor General is. Number two, there hasn't been a case where the Governor General has really put his foot down to the government since the King Byng affair. Now, for those of you who don't know what the King Byng affair is, I don't really have a lot of time to go in it. You can read up on Canadian history is pretty interesting. I know some of y'all think Canadian history is pretty interesting. The King Byng affair. That's when Lord Byng, who was the Governor General, told the Prime Minister wanted to create a government after the election. There was a minority, and the Conservatives won it. King, who was the Liberal, it was a minority, so he wanted to work with the Progressives to form a working coalition government. And the Governor General said, fuck you. But read more up on it. But there hasn't been a case where the Governor General has really done anything, because they know that if this unelected person were to do something, Canadians would I know Canadians probably wouldn't riot, but it wouldn't look good. But here's the third thing I want to say. Really, the Prime Minister doesn't have to listen to the Governor General anyway. The Prime Minister already has all the power he needs. He's got the notwithstanding clause. Back in the King Byng days, there was no notwithstanding clause. So the Governor General, you could say, did have a lot more power. Nowadays, the Governor General, if you guys who say, oh, well, we need to have an unelected person who's neutral from the government. If Justin Atake MacDaddy Trudeau were to make a law, which the Governor General doesn't like, and he thinks it's wrong, and he says he's not going to sign it, all Justin Atake MacDaddy Trudeau has to do is put in the notwithstanding clause and either have that law him forced to sign it, or he could take away the funds that the Governor General needs, or he can just get rid of the office anyway. I mean, the Prime Minister, you have that ability. The Prime Minister has the ability to get rid of it. So there is no neutral. The Governor General is not neutral from the government. The Governor General can't do anything to the government. Really, the Governor General can't do anything, so it doesn't make any sense. You guys who say, oh, let's have a neutral person from government and non-elected, what's the point of having that person when they can't stand up to the government in the first place? So I would get rid of him. Get rid of him. We've got the Supreme Court to hold the government to account, even though those guys, we've got them. The Supreme Court, the Constitution, which the government doesn't follow anyway. So really, it doesn't make any sense to have any Governor General. I mean, how many of y'all know who the Governor General? How many of y'all even knew we had a Governor General? I mean, be honest with me. Probably none of you. Maybe maybe some of you guys, because, my group of people, my subscribers, you guys are pretty smart. You guys are knowledgeable. You guys know what you're on about. That's why you listen to me, because I know what I'm talking about. I'm down with this Arana Nation guy. But most Canadians don't know a damn thing about the Governor General. The Governor General can't do anything to the government. The Governor General is a useless eater. And I think it's not right for us to be having to spend our tax dollars on two individuals, one who has all the power and one who can't do anything except cut ribbons, when we can just use that money, spend half as much of that money on one person. So get rid of the office of Governor General, sell Sussex Drive, the 24 Sussex Drive, to some country, send it to some country they can have an embassy. And then the Prime Minister moves into Rideau Hall, and the Prime Minister is now the Viceroy. And it's like Russia or France. France is a good example. France is probably the best example, where the president, even though they have a prime minister, but the prime minister of France is useless. President of France, he holds the head of government and the head of state. So we would be a parliamentary democracy still. The Queen would still be there, and then when all of you guys who still want to hang on to the Queen are dead, and Canada finally decides to get rid of the Queen, then what Canada would become is a parliamentary republic. Not like America, which is just a republic, but a parliamentary republic where the president of Canada would also sit in the House of Commons. And if we're not in the Commonwealth, or we don't have the Queen, it wouldn't be called House of Commons. It would probably be called the National Assembly or something like that, Legislative Assembly. But let's take it one step at a time. Keep the Queen for now, I guess, even though I don't want to keep her. But let's not rock the boat too much. Keep the Queen, but get rid of the Governor General. Nobody's going to miss the office of Governor General. I don't think anybody's going to miss that office. Nobody's going to care. Nobody cares. I don't care who you want to put in there, but as long as I can vote for that person, and then we can stop talking about, bring in a native person, bring in a woman, bring in a trans, bring in this, bring in that. Get rid of the office of Governor General. Yay and amen, and boom, shakalaka goes right there. This is the